Sting is against recent AEW creative, plus a WWE talent departs the company, and we have an update on the TNA firing of Scott D'Amore. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. It's Sting!
And he's not very happy. No, he's not.
Oh, but not for the terrible reasons this time, kind of, sort of. Let me explain.
Go on then.
All right, I will. Fightful Select.
Magic hands.
They call me Magic Hands. Fightful Select say that Sting hasn't been completely on board with his current creative. So we saw on Wednesday...
Knew this. Should never have left WWE. He was WWE his whole career, and then Tony Khan ruined him. God, good job, AEW.
He's been undefeated in AEW, and he became one half of the Tag Team Champions on Wednesday. However, Fightful say that Sting not only was adamantly, but also long against winning the AEW Tag Team titles. For a long time, he was also against even competing for them. Some in AEW have said from their standpoint, Sting and Darby were undefeated as a tag team and therefore should have a tag team title shot well before they did within the context of the TV show. But Sting was very, very much against it. Sting didn't want a belt. Sting didn't want to go on this winning streak.
It makes sense, but then at the same time, we're sort of bringing back the concept of records and wins and losses, and that would warrant, a position of that, magnitude match-wise.
Yeah, you need it, wouldn't you? You'd want it. Sting's been always very much one to not go against creative, but there's been circumstances throughout his career where he's kind of gone, this is what I feel comfortable with doing, this is what I'm going to do. Remember the main event Mafia stuff in TNA?
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be a bad guy, but just didn't feel comfortable being the kind of bad guy that the other main event Mafia guys were. So there was this real sort of juxtaposition between the Sting as a bad guy and the rest of the main event Mafia as bad guys for that reason.
Part of me feels as well that it's just kind of the thing you see with a lot of veterans where it's like, I don't really need a belt, like but at the same time he's with Darby, so I guess it does help with Darby.
Does. Now, Sting is also a major part of the decision to face the Young Bucks at Revolution, according to Fightful Select. They say the planned location was also changed for Revolution from the Midwest to Greensboro. Therefore, it's more fitting with Sting's history. And Sting, who's a guy who's very aware of his place in wrestling history, but almost doesn't want to fuss, it seems. And they're dragging him to making a fuss. They're putting it in Greensboro, which is very much a Sting hotbed. They made him a champion.
The rafters all night, but for real this time.
Don't want to come down. I'm shy. I'm shy. Sting will retire next month and looks as if, it's not been confirmed yet, but he's facing the Young Bucks with Darby Allin for the tag titles. And I think
should be a hell of a match.
It'll be a great time. I think Sting's losing.
I think he might lose.
I think if he was annoyed with winning the belts, he'll be even more annoyed if he retires with the belts.
He wins, but somehow wins like bonus belts, so he has to stay longer.
Oh, no, not more belts. We said farewell to an NXT talent who announced on Instagram that they have departed the company.
Yeah, Amari Miller, she took to Instagram to post, so today WWE and I have parted ways. Neither one of us decided to re-sign another contract, so my 3 years are up. I'm beyond grateful of what they've given me and taught me, but my journey there has come to an end. When a door closes and one opens. When the door closes and one opens, I guess, just as a statement. Will I keep wrestling? Who knows? Will I lace up my boots again in the future? Possibly. I got to experience a lifestyle that most people dream of, and I'll never take it back. On to the next chapter of my life. Thank you, coaches, WWE, and the fans who actually supported me, not the fans who were bullshiners wishing me bad during my career, lol. Much love, Cameron Clay, FKA Amari Miller.
Who has been horrible to Cameron Clay?
It's a weird bunch of fans out there, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, best wishes to Amari Miller. We didn't see a whole lot of her in the 2.0 NXT days, but I quite enjoyed the stuff that we saw.
And she's somebody I can definitely see, if one day wants to return to the ring, then the chance is definitely there.
Without a doubt. Lots of news coming out of TNA over the last couple of days with the departure of Scott D'Amore, which we'll touch on in just a second. But last night on Impact, they announced that they will host TNA Rebellion, their April pay-per-view on the 20th of April from the Palms in Las Vegas. This is where they held Hard to Kill last month. A record-setting show to usher in the new TNA era. So they're going back there. I wonder whether they'll now base themselves out of Vegas.
I don't know why, but I think TNA in Vegas would be an amazing fit.
It does feel like it would
go
quite well. make it garish?
I don't know. I think they can continue to do what they do, but there's like a distinct element of Vegas that just reminds me of classic TNA.
Is it the color scheme?
Maybe.
Might be the color scheme, maybe. I think it'd be quite nice, actually. Mike Johnson of PW Insider has given us a few more details on one of the biggest stories coming out of TNA this week, and that is the termination of the TNA president Scott D'Amore's contract. Scott's gone.
So Mike Johnson has reported there were a lot of people assuming something salacious had happened to lead to D'Amore's exit, but they were told by sources close to Anthem that wasn't the case. While no one's clear as to why this decision was made, over the last day, the belief seems to settle on the idea that Len Asper, the head of Anthem, and D'Amore came to a crossroads where they disagreed on how TNA should be operated, and only one person was going to win that butting of the heads, and that was Asper. PW Insider also revealed that Scott's departure wasn't as sudden as it was made out to be. They were told that D'Amore was aware last week to 10 days ago that the change was coming, so it wasn't a shock firing out of nowhere, even if it was announced yesterday and shocked everybody. This has been something coming over several weeks. They'd apparently first gotten word of it a few weeks ago and were looking to confirm the story, but they were told that lots of meetings to plan out how things would work post D'Amore, and that Anthem to take a look at everything internally had been happening, but they could improve upon TNA by integrating it into their entertainment, when all of that stuff we'd heard yesterday they were kind of discussing internally.
They're keen to kind of take more control over it.
Yeah.
And the term that came out from yesterday was less D'Amore-centric. I don't think that sort of means that D'Amore was on TV a lot. I think it more in the case that it was
him running it.
Yeah, D'Amore's vision as opposed to what Anthem wanted.
Anthem want the owl back in the corner, and you're going to give us the owl back in the corner, guys.
Nobody puts the owl in the corner.
Exactly, except Anthem on every show. Put him in the corner.
It could have been very different, because PW Insider also report that before his contract termination, Scott D'Amore attempted to buy TNA from Anthem. They say Scott approached Anthem with an offer to buy TNA outright, and said to have been backed by a letter with a major banking institution, but it was rebuffed. We have heard from some on the Anthem side that it was seen as a legitimate offer that was worthy of consideration, but the decision was made not to accept. Scott D'Amore buying TNA and running it would have been... It's what an interesting twist in the tale.
I think that might be one of the bigger what ifs in the eventual TNA life story. You know, one day it's going to be sort of what happened if it would have split off there and gone D'Amore solo.
Obviously, throughout the last 2 days, there's been loads of TNA stars that have been sharing tributes to Scott D'Amore. Very much a beloved guy behind the scenes with the talent and a lot of the production team. And in terms of what we see from TNA, I guess we're going to get a clearer vision of their future in the coming weeks, because we had a taping last night. Impact last night was taped a few weeks back. It featured the last TNA match of Trinity. Now she's going to appear on SmackDown and Impact this week, which is quite a cool little twist. So I think going forward, we'll see what this new world looks like under the new regime, a bit more of the Anthem-controlled regime without Scott D'Amore.
Or Scott D'Amore buys the rights to Global Force Wrestling, gets all the talent, and we just speed run to the next bit.
We just get straight in.
The next retro revival.
Oh, yes!
Global Force is back!
Let's skip to the good part. We'll have more wrestling news for you throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.